Alright everybody, it's me again. Welcome back to my channel. This here is a video that I'm doing about the recent turn of events between Disney and Sony. Hi Disney. Hi Sony. Can't you two get along? Obviously that's not gonna happen. So anyway, as you may already be aware of, Sony has pulled Spider-Man from the MCU. And it doesn't hurt my feelings in either respect. But these are things I think you need to know about Spider-Man in Sony's future, and what I think they're going to have to do in order to continue with Spider-Man, which is a pretty hot Marvel property. I mean, come on, the most famous Marvel superhero in the world, right? So I've been watching a lot of videos, seeing a lot of comments, and people going, awesome, we'll get to see that Venom versus Spider-Man fight. But it might not go down the way you think it will. Here's why. Well, first of all, now that Sony's pulled Spider-Man out of the MCU, they cannot use that backstory whatsoever. So, more than likely, Sony's going to have to do, oh my god, a reboot. Preferably, I don't want to see an origin story, because anybody that's into the comics already knows his origin story. So let's pick up maybe 2 or 3 years after he got bit and became Spider-Man. You know, let's pick up on him in his stride going about it already. Okay? So they can't use any of that history, and they can't go back onto the Sam Raimi films either. And they certainly can't pull from those 2 garbage movies with Andrew Garfield. Those are the worst 2 Spider-Man movies I've ever seen. That's my own personal preference. It's my personal opinion. I watched both of them. They were good that first time through, but on subsequent watches, they just didn't hold up. So, worst 2 Spider-Man movies ever made with Andrew Garfield. I'm not knocking Andrew Garfield. He did what he did based on the script. That's all you can do. He had to work with the script he was given. So you really can't blame the actor for a piss poor movie. You blame it on the director, you blame it on the producers, you blame it on the script writer, the screenplay writer, all of it. I think Andrew Garfield is a decent actor. It's just Spider-Man was not his calling. So anyway, as I've already stated, they can't use any of the backstory from the Marvel Cinematic Universe for Spider-Man since they're pulling him out. So more than likely, Sony's going to have to do a reboot. Now, as far as the Spider-Man Venom crossover battle, well, since Sony's already done their standalone Venom movie, they cannot use that history that Peter Parker and the symbiote suit have from the comics, because they've already done their Venom movie. So as it stands right now, Spider-Man's in the Sony universe, Venom's in the Sony universe, neither one is aware of the other at this time. You can't use that glorious backstory. And a beautiful backstory that entire thing was. Because if you read the comics like I do, you'll know that Spider-Man got that suit on Battleworld in the original Secret Wars. I think it was issue number 8. Basically, Spider-Man was walking somewhere. He came across the Hulk, he came across Thor, and they were wearing new clothes. And he asked where they got the new clothes. And they said, oh, we were just in this building back here, and there's this device, you just think of what it is you want, and it creates it for you. So he's like, cool, okay. So he goes in there, and he gets this black suit, which he puts on. He's all, woo-hoo! And that's where he got the suit from. It was from Battleworld. And so when all that's over, he gets back, and it takes a few issues, and then we start to find out that this suit is not everything it's cracked up to be. Turns out it's an alien creature, a symbiote, and while Peter Parker's asleep, the suit's taking him out for a ride. So Peter Parker's left wondering why he's so tired. I know I went to bed last night, but the suit was going onto him and then physically controlling Peter Parker and going for a web swing around the city at night. When Peter Parker finally realizes that this suit is a living alien creature, he wants it off. I guess he goes about myriad ways. He comes to find out that sound seems to be its weakness, so he goes to Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four, to help him get this suit off of him, which they were successful. Reed Richards had it contained in a glass container of some sort, and you could see the animosity that the suit had towards Peter now at this point. Also during all of this, as a side backstory, you've got this issue between Peter Parker and Eddie Brock, though actually Eddie Brock doesn't like Spider-Man either. So Eddie Brock's going about his entire day trying to expose Spider-Man as a fraud or a criminal of some sort. He gets hired by the Daily Bugle as a photographer. He gets fired. He gets hired by another company. He gets attacked by Tarantula or some shit. And he gets fired again. And it builds up his hatred for Spider-Man. Then at some point in time, the suit and Eddie Brock meet. They have a mutual enemy with Spider-Man. But of course, the alien suit has all those memories of its time with Peter and relays this information to Eddie Brock. So now Eddie Brock knows that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. So he goes after his Aunt May and this and Mary Jane. But you can't use that history now because they've already made their own Venom movie. And there's also one thing else to note about the MCU version of Spider-Man. I think they only hinted at his spider sense once in all of the Spider-Man appearances in the MCU. That's an integral part of Spider-Man's abilities, is that spider sense, which I hope Sony gets a good screenwriter to do this Spidey versus Venom, because you know eventually it's going to happen. But there's one key thing about Venom. Spider-Man cannot sense him with his spider sense at all. I mean, you know, you read in the comic books, Peter Parker realizes that he does not trigger my spider sense. And I think there was a battle they had in the sewer, and Spider-Man just totally freaked out on Venom. I mean, he went all out. He didn't pull his punches. He went for it. I mean, come on. The way they played him in the MCU, they didn't really touch on the fact, well, maybe slightly. In the comics, Peter Parker can press about 10 tons under optimal conditions. That's his physical strength. He can lift 10 tons. So he can easily throw a car. I think the only suggestion that he has this physical strength was in that brief little battle between Spider-Man, Falcon, and the Winter Soldier. When the Winter Soldier went to hit him with that bionic arm, and Peter Parker just grabbed it and was like, "Whoa, dude, you got a metal arm! That's cool!" Because it flat out stopped him. He just, whoa, cool! And Peter Parker didn't look to be straining at all. But yeah, that's the only problem I see with the whole Sony thing with Spider-Man now, is they're going to have to do a reboot, and they're going to have to come up with a story that can effectively get Spider-Man and Venom to cross paths. I don't know if there's going to be a versus component in that, because Venom has been played thus far in its first movie as somewhat of an anti-hero. So he's not really a bad guy. He's not really a villain. So I don't know what kind of animosity play they can make to pit these two against each other. I don't know. Maybe they could go the whole Lethal Protector route with the Venom. I don't know. It still remains to be seen. But just a short video to throw out what I think is going to have to happen in order to make the movies people want to see happen. So there's my 2 cents. So until the next one, peace!